Okay, let's start seated today. We'll go legs crossed, one in front of the other. Doesn't matter which one quite yet. Let's go ahead and take these first few minutes just to kind of distance from the outside to the space we've created for our practice here. We'll go hands to the lap, palms up, goes ahead and starts to open up those shoulders a little. Just going to slow down as we transition into the class. We'll take the next hour to look inward, kind of peeking through the body, taking a closer look at what we have going on today. Let's go ahead and start. Let's check in with the knees. If there's anything creeping up in those knees, tugging, pulling, any sensations more than moderate, just going to grab those blocks at any time. Rub them right under. If you find you're having trouble tilting back or forward, also give yourself a little lift using those blocks. Sometimes that'll relax those tight hips just a little more. We're going to start scanning from the feet all the way through the head. And we're just looking for any of those areas of pain or tension or stress in the body. We're going to note those, and we're going to make sure that we don't make any of that pain worse. Consider also those things that might come up. So checking in with that headspace right now, let's kind of tune into what's going on there. Maybe you have a tendency to get a little frustrated. It's been a particularly difficult week. Maybe you're a perfectionist or high stress. Any of those things, you can be on the lookout for them. Tendencies to overdo come with a lot of those. Let's notice what the breath is like now, without changing it. Just noticing what you're starting with. We're going to start to grow the breath, and as we grow the breath, we're going to start to extend the spine a little bit taller. Pull the shoulders down and away from the ears. I'm going to give the tailbone a bit of a tuck, because that arch tends to sneak in. Let's go arms out by the sides. Fingers are reaching out of those shoulders, shoulders down and away from the ears. Just send some of those bigger breaths all the way from the crown of the head, between that new space you just created between those vertebrae. Releasing all that stale old air through the mouth, through the nose, doesn't matter, just bigger. Not the biggest breath you have necessarily. Gradually increase. On the next exhale, we're going to send the crown of the head away from those right fingertips. So kind of that left ear moving slowly toward that left shoulder. Might pick up those right fingertips. Elevate them a few inches. Numbness or tingling in the arms or hands just closer to the body. Next, exhale, chin in the direction of that left collarbone. Brand new body here, brand new day. Where does the resistance show up there? Just one more big breath here. And then we're going to inhale that strong neck back up center. Maybe one big inhale. Exhale to reset. Next, exhale right ear. Moving in the direction of that right shoulder. Might lift those left fingertips a bit. Check in for that numbness or tingling. Looking for that first point of resistance here. Body's natural boundary. Next, exhale, we're going to take the chin in the direction of that right collarbone. Knowing it might be a lot different from the other side. Not going to judge it, but not going to try to match that other side either. Just going to notice, where do I feel it in my body? Bringing that attention back to the breath, to the body. Let's inhale that head right back to center here. We're going to take the fingertips right out front. Our sit bones are rooted to the floor. Head is extending. Crown of the head is pulling away from those sit bones. And on an exhale, might start to walk those hands forward. When the body shows you that boundary, you're going to take a couple breaths into it, reassessing those bigger breaths. Will calm the nervous system, might give you a little more depth. Notice we're not rounding or folding here. Our back is still nice and straight, crown of the head pulling away. Opposite arrows of movement, one continuous line. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and slowly walk those hands back up to center. We're going to send those legs straight out in front. Let's give the toes a point and a flex. Maybe wiggle them around. See if you can spread them apart. we're going to go both hands behind our hips. Fingers are wide, actively gripping the mat there. We're going to use the strength of our arms to support ourselves tall. We're going to keep a bit of a micro bend in those elbows. Don't want to lock them out. Use strength to support tall. Toes toward the ceiling, and on an exhale, maybe hinging forward. A lot of us are going to be right here at center, just extending tall. Takes a lot of work here just to do this much. Inhale, reassess. Exhale, make that decision. One more big breath. And then we're going to bring that spine upright. If it's hinged, we can release those hands in the back. Give them a little relaxation there. Whichever leg was crossed in front before, we're going to take the legs, we're going to cross the other foot in front. We're going to check in right there. Anything showing up in the knees? If so, one block under each knee. Let's take those fingertips out front again, pulling the shoulders back. Exhaling, maybe finding depth here. Curiously looking. Watch for that breath to go. That's one of the body's warning signals. And if the teeth are clenched, you're going to scale back. Or if any pain you started with is amplified, you'll scale back. Let's go ahead and walk those hands back to center slowly. Let's take them behind. I'm going to go a little further back on this one, and my hands are about mat width. Fingers are wide, actively gripping. It's going to strengthen the joints there. And on an exhale, I'm going to send the chest in the direction of the ceiling. Shoulders are moving back. Try not to let that head collapse. Send some big breaths into that awkward open chest. Check in with that tailbone. Make sure that back doesn't have a significant arch going on there. Last big breath right here. And then walking those hands back up. We're going to take, let's go feet straight out again. It's easier to walk you through one this way, I think. We're going to take the right foot and we're going to kind of bring it somewhere around the inside of this left thigh. Might have to adjust it a little, but we're going to take the left foot. We're going to start to send it over. So this right foot's going to come a little bit closer to that left hip. And we'll cross the left foot around that knee. Let me turn my back so you can see. So I've got my right foot close to that hip, taking the left foot right around that knee. If that's accessible, you could stay there. If that's not accessible for you today, you can straighten that right leg and just cross the left over. We're going to take the left hand behind, fingers wide, actively gripping. We're going to sit tall. Right hand is going to go outside that left knee. We're going to inhale tall. And we're going to exhale, twisting in the direction of that left leg. Only twisting as far as you can keep that spine nice and straight. Again, two options here. Anything starts creeping up, just bring that leg straight. Relax both of those shoulders. Last big breath on this side. And then we're gently going to unwind. Uncrossing that left foot. We're going to say brand new side, brand new body here. This time that left foot is going to start to come inside. We're going to take the right, see if we can start to cross it over that left knee. That's not going to happen, just going to make that left leg straight, judgment free. We'll go right hand behind that right hip, fingers wide, actively gripping, committing first to the extended spine with the shoulders going down and back, and then exhaling and twisting toward the right. Notice if anything's different on this side. One more big breath here. And then gently unwinding. And carefully bringing that left foot back out front, crossing that right, or uncrossing that right. We're going to go ahead and we're going to transition to hands and knees. We're not going to dance our way there. We're just going to move slowly to hands and knees. So all fours here. Right here, shoulders are stacked over soft elbows and wrists. Hips are stacked over the knees. Fingers are wide, palms actively gripping the mat. We're going to pull the crown of our head forward. We're going to pull the sit bones in the opposite direction. Just getting a good extension there. And on your next exhale, we're going to start to send shoulder blades in the direction of the ceiling. We're kind of punching like a cat here. And then on an inhale, we're going to find that extension again. Crown of head pulling one direction, sit bones pulling the other. And you're going to move slowly here, but to the rhythm of your own breath. Exhaling, shoulder blades up, inhaling, finding that extension. All going to be moving a little different. Depending on the size of our breath. If you notice a place there during the process, you can pause, take a couple breaths into it, send a bit of space in the upper back there. And the next time you find yourself in that extended space, kind of relax there. I'm going to walk you through a down dog. any wrist issues going on, any pain there or injuries there, you're not going to want to put a lot of weight on those wrists. So you might want to get up a different way. But we're going to tuck the toes. We're going to send the hips in the direction of the ceiling. Chest is moving toward the front of the thighs. Back of the thighs are moving toward the wall behind. Heels are moving in the direction of the floor. Gaze is between your feet. Might pedal out there, maybe lifting one foot, then the other. And when you're ready, you're going to start to walk those feet in the direction of the hands. Maybe a bit of the hands in the direction of the feet. And then just slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. Once you've gotten to your feet, let's place the feet about hip width. Pick up the toes. Get a bit of a grip on the mat. We're going to soften the knees here. We don't want the knees to be locked out. Ladies, we're going to tuck that tailbone so that it's pointed in the direction of the floor. And we'll just settle in here. Arms down at the sides. Palms facing the body. Crown of the head is reaching toward the ceiling. Feet are rooted. So we're reaching for the stars, but we're grounded. Let's take those hands all the way up, and we're going to send the right hand behind the left. Notice what changed there. Go ahead and pull those shoulders down. Soften the knees. Tuck the tailbone. Let's take those hands out wide again. This time, we're going to send those hands up. This time the right is going to cross behind the left, or whichever side you didn't do that first time. It's hard when we're all facing each other. One more breath here. Tuck that tailbone. Let's take those arms out wide. So now they're in a T. We're going to pull our fingertips away from one another, making our wingspan a lot wider. Sending big breaths right there. We're going to take that right arm. We're going to start to cross it. Go across the body here, and then we're going to angle it to where the ceiling and the wall meet. We're going to take the left hand behind the right arm. Relax the shoulder, soften the knees, and on an exhale, maybe a gentle push there. Still have that breath. We're going to release that elbow. We're going to take the arms wide again. This time we're going to kind of send the fingertips back a little just to counter that stretch. This time we're going to start to bring that left arm across the body. Angle it to where the ceiling and the wall meet. Taking the right hand behind the elbow. Exhaling, gentle push. notice any difference on this side, looking for where you carry that tension in the body. What's going on here? Last big breath on this side. Let's release that elbow. Let's take the arms wide. Let's send the fingers back. One more nice counter. And then relax, bringing them down by the sides. Let's give them a few slow rolls back. Licking, popping, or grinding, make those circles smaller. Let's go a few rolls forward. And then pausing at center, fingers pulling down and away from those shoulders. We're going to do a balancing one. I know we're pretty tight today, but if you'd like to step onto the carpet or the floor or stay on the mat, any is good. Well, on Wednesday, you were all like warming up before that. Find a spot to focus on. Go ahead and unclench that jaw. Find that breath again. We're going to take a step forward with the right foot. We're going to grip with the toes. We're going to make sure we keep that right hip straight. It's going to want to collapse for more depth. But we're going to start to bend that left foot behind, just picking it up, so we're actually bending the left knee. We're going to grip with those toes. We're keeping that right knee soft. You're looking for the place just outside of the comfort zone. Want that ankle to wobble around. That's your sign. Check in with that hip. If you need a little more here, you can start to lift that foot a little higher, taking the top of the foot into that left hand. Need a little more, you can extend the right arm forward slowly as you send that left knee back. Foot might come down 100 times. Shake it off. Stabilize and move back into the posture. Is that hip straight? If it's not, scale back. One more big breath on this side. And then releasing that foot if you're holding on to it. Bringing it back to the ground slowly, giving those hips a good shake. You're meeting yourself where you are today. Don't worry if that foot comes down 100 times. Your body is learning to navigate that. Takes a lot of practice. So reset right here, maybe finding something to gaze on, something that's not moving. Standing tall. Those challenging parts, going to keep that hip straight. So let's take a step forward with that left foot. Grip with those toes. Project out of that hip. Keep that knee soft. Slowly bringing up that right foot. Not autopiloting into that posture. Letting ourselves stabilize right here. Finding that wobbly place, maybe reaching for the top of that foot, maybe sending that left arm forward, fingers reaching, and then sending that knee back. What goes on with the hip there? Keep it nice and straight. Bring that breath back. It's typically the first to go when we're balancing. Grip with those toes. Last breath on this side. Let's release the top of that foot. Bring it back down to the ground. Let's give those hips a good shake. And shake it off. We're going to take the arms up, but we're going to take those fingertips to the lower part of the neck. Feet are about hip width apart. Toes are gripping. On an exhale, we're going to send the chest toward the ceiling again. We're going to breathe big into that open chest. Soften those knees. We'll go hands a little higher. Clasp the palms. Elbows forward. Exhaling, chin in the direction of that chest. Just let the natural weight of your arms and gravity do the stretch there. Send some of those nice big breaths right into the back of the neck, any tension in those shoulders. Relax those shoulders too if they're creeping up toward the ears. Last big breath here. Let's bring that head back upright. You can go ahead and release the hands from behind the head. We'll go hands to the front of the shins. We're going to do a great extension here. So inhaling tall, shoulders down, tailbone tucked. Exhaling, hinging forward at the waist. Sliding those hands down the front of the thighs. Don't want to round or fold here. Looking for a nice tabletop back. Breathing big, sending some of those big breaths right down that spine. One more big breath right here. And then we're going to bring that strong torso back upright. Giving those shoulders a roll up, back, and down. Let's go hands clasped right behind the hips here. On your next exhale, we're going to send the knuckles in the direction of the floor, and we're going to pull the crown of the head toward the ceiling. Primary movement here, shoulders are back. Check in with that tailbone, grip with those toes, gripping with those toes, strengthening all those joints. Last big breath right here. And then let's gently release. We're going to come to the top of the mat maybe, or pretty close. I've got about a foot there. Going to take a step back with the right foot. Our left toes are going to be pointing straight ahead. We're going to take that right foot behind, and you're going to explore your own depth here. But those right toes are kind of angled, so kind of at a diagonal there. We're going to take our left hand, the top of our hand, and send it to the inside of this left thigh. to try to keep that knee just a little bit soft. We're going to exhale, and we're going to slide the back of that hand down the inside of that leg as we reach our right fingertips in the direction of the ceiling. We're going to breathe big right there. Depth could be anywhere from that initial stance till those fingers are reaching. Just a couple more breaths right here. And then we're going to slowly bring that right arm around. We're bringing that left hand back up that leg. Toes are still angled in the back, still forward in the front. We're this time going to take the right hand to the outside of this left thigh, or wherever it's meeting today. Once we find some stability, on an exhale, we're going to send the right hand down the outside of that left leg. We're going to reach up with those left fingertips. We're going to wobble around, shake a little, breathe. This awkward posture here. One more big breath. And then we'll slowly bring that left hand back. Support ourselves back up here. We're going to turn those left toes and the right toes so that they're facing the long side of the mat. Notice what happened right there with that tailbone. Go ahead and tuck it. Stand tall, shoulders down and away from the ears. Hands to the front of the thighs. Exhaling, gonna hinge forward again. Soft knees here. Not rounding, not folding. If you find that you have a lot of range of motion here, you could grab your block. And you might walk it forward. One more big breath on this side. We're in this posture. And then we're going to inhale that strong torso back up. And the shoulders will roll up, back, and down. And we're going to pivot around so we can explore the other side. So the left toes are going to be toward the short end of the mat. We're going to have that right foot this time. It's going to be on a diagonal. Knees are still soft. May have to adjust that stance here. Left hand's going to go to the inside of that left thigh. And on an exhale, going to send those right fingertips toward the sky as we slide the left hand down the inside of that left thigh. Notice what's going on with that back here, checking in. What's going on with the breath, the jaw? About any pain you started with? About that perfectionism? When you're ready, we're going to take that right hand slowly back around. Bringing ourselves back upright, but keeping that stance here. Once stabilized again, we'll take the right hand this time to the outside of that left thigh. exhaling, sending those left fingertips toward the ceiling. Sliding the right hand down the outside of that left leg. Remember, ignore me when I come out of postures. Last big breath here. Let's slowly bring that left hand back around, sliding that right hand back up that leg. Pivot the toes again, facing that long end of the mat. Tuck the tailbone, hands to the front of the thighs one more time, extending forward. Pulling those sit bones toward the wall behind, pulling the shoulders back, pulling the crown of the head forward. What's different now that you've done a few of these nice extensions? We're going to inhale, bringing that strong torso up one more time here. And then we're going to heel toe the feet back to about hip width. Maybe rest the eyes, just check in right here. Fingers are down, actively pulling away toward the ground. Where's the body now? What's changed since you started? Where's the head space now? Is it more focused? What's that breath like now? We're going to reach down, we're going to grab our strap. Just so I can do. Let's keep that tailbone tucked here and the knees soft. You see I'm giving myself a good bit of slack here. Tight shoulders, just starting a little bit wide. Gonna exhale, gonna send the hands up. Let's keep that tailbone tucked. Bit of shoulder opening right here. You might have more range of motion than I do here. You might adjust your hands on to target an area that's going to give your body what it needs. Just breathing into the front of those shoulders. Last big breath here. Slowly bringing that strap back around. Anything we do one direction, you know we're going to reverse. We're going to counter. Strap behind. Again, I'm giving myself a good bit of slack there. Toes are gripping, tailbones tucked, exhaling, maybe lifting behind. Last big breath. And then we're gently going to release that and drop that strap right down to the floor. We are going to use it again once we're back on the ground, so just be sure to keep it close by there. I'm going to walk you through one more down dog. Wrist issues. Go ahead and just find yourself back seated any way that works for you. So hands to the front of the thighs, shoulders down and away from the ears. We're going to slowly start to hinge forward here. We're going to keep that hinge just as long as we can. We're going to pause at center, and you might apply a little pressure to the legs for a bit more extension there. But just one big breath there. Then you're going to bend the knees, hands to the mat, fingers wide, actively gripping, walking the feet back. Hips are moving toward the ceiling, chest toward the front of the thighs, back of the thighs toward the wall behind, heels in the direction of the floor. Maybe you pedal out again here, maybe lifting one foot than the other, noticing if anything's different. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to shift the weight so that we're moving in the direction of a push-up position. Fingers and hands actively gripping here. You can bring one knee down at a time slowly, or you can use the strength of those arms and hands to lower your chest down to the floor and then coming down onto your belly. Let's go forearms to the floor in front here. Fingers are wide. We're going to start here by using the strength of our arms and hands. We're going to press down on the mat and we're going to pull the crown of our head forward. We're projecting out of our shoulders a bit here. Excellent posture for the lower back. One more big breath here. And let's bring that chest all the way down to the floor. And bring either cheek down to the floor. Just let the legs relax. Let the body relax here. Let's inhale and switch just to that other cheek, noticing any differences there. We're going to take the arms down by the sides here. Palms are going to face the ceiling. So they're just long on the side of the body. We're going to inhale. And we're going to start to pick our head up and pick our feet up so that we're balancing on our tummies here. Let's pull those shoulders back. Pull the crown of the head forward. One more big breath right here. And then let's bring that body back down to the floor. Relax just for a couple breaths. Maybe place the cheek that felt more awkward on the mat. Get a little more time on it. Work on balancing it. And we're going to bring our hands back up so that we're on those forearms again. So palms are on the mat here. moving, we're going to tuck the toes. And we're going to see if we could lift our hips from the floor. We're going to send the heels toward the wall behind. We're going to project out of the shoulders here. And we're going to pull the crown of our head in the other direction. Same posture, bringing those knees down. And pulling the crown of the head forward. You're controlling that depth here. Just one more big breath. Let's bring those knees down slowly. Untuck the toes and right back down to the belly. Let's relax. We're going to transition now. We still have a little bit of time left here, but we're going to go ahead. We're going to transition onto our backs. So any way you want to roll onto your back, shimmy on the mat a bit. Make sure you can reach that strap. Once you're on your back, you're going to take your feet and you're going to bring your heels just as close to your hips as you can. I'm going to do a bit of the opposite here, countering the last posture. Arms down at the sides, palms on the mat this time. And on an exhale, get to see if you can push through your feet, lifting your hips from the floor. Might only be a centimeter, might only be a couple seconds. Keep breathing right there. And you're ready, starting to gently bring those hips right back down to the floor. Soles of the feet are flat on the floor right here. Body's connected to the mat. We're going to take our right ankle and we're going to cross it over that left knee. For some, this might be enough right here. If you need a little more depth, you could use a block to place under the left foot. You can also take this right hand, you can lift that left foot from the floor, taking that right hand, threading it between the legs, sending it behind that left leg, that left thigh, clasping both hands there. And just breathing big. Need a little more depth, you can take those hands from behind that thigh. You can bring them around the shins. You can gently pull either behind that thigh or in front, just moving those legs in the direction of the torso. Try to let the strength of your arms do the work here. If you have those legs up, starts creeping up in those hands, you might go ahead and come out of the posture just a little early. My times are always suggestions. Last big breath here. And then we're slowly going to bring that left foot back down to the mat. We're going to uncross that right foot. Before we move to the other side, we're going to bring the knees up to the hands. So both knees up to the hands here. And we're going to do a few circles in one direction. Letting those legs be dead weight. And then we'll circle them in the other direction. Little massage on that lower back. And then we'll take both feet back down to the mat. Brand new side. We're going to explore it curiously. So using beginner's mind. This side we're going to take the left foot and we're going to cross it over that right knee. What shows up here? This might be enough for some. You might lift that right foot onto a block. You might take that left hand, you might thread it between and behind, reaching around with the right, clasping the hands behind that right thigh. More depth, you can take those hands around the shin. You be noticing what's different on this side. Maybe you feel it somewhere different. Maybe your depth is not quite as much. Relax that jaw. Body probably knows, body in the headspace. Class is going to end soon. Just keep it in this room. Yourself present right here just a little longer. Remembering it's your hour for self-care. Care for the body, care for the mind. One more big breath here. And then we're gently going to bring that right foot down if it's lifted. We're going to uncross that left foot, bringing that sole of that left foot back down to the mat. We're going to walk the feet out long. We're going to move into our final posture here. We're going to let the feet fall however they fall. We're going to allow the body to become as heavy as it can, supported by the ground beneath. Relax the feet. Relax the rib cage. Arms may be at the sides, palms up. Or they might be on the belly. allow the breath to do what it wants to do now. You don't have to control it anymore. Focusing on stillness in this posture. It's one of the hardest postures for a lot of us. Go, go, go. We're going to bookend the practice like we began with that check-in. What's going on with the body now? What you notice? Where's the headspace now? What's that new breath like now? You're eventually going to bring some intentional movement back. And this is at your pace. Intentionally softer and slower movement. You may start with the fingers and the toes. The wrists, the ankles. Maybe a rock of the head side to side. Or the knees. Maybe any final stretches that your body needs. Maybe I didn't get to your favorite today, or the one you think might really help. Easier to know what the body needs. For checking in